Hello and welcome back to another Final Table commentary. If at any point in time you find yourself not caring for the commentary, there'll be a link in the description down below to the video and BCP Poker Replays YouTube account, so if you choose to do so, you can go check out the action in some silence. With that being said, today we got a 2K Final Table from WCOOP 2022. Got $54,000 for first, 42 for second, and the rest of the dollars don't matter. Everybody here is playing for first place. We got Niffler on the final table. We got Runif, Dalton, Kovaliski, King 1, Pads, Nino, Lena, and Runitz Ran. We're going to get the King Jack in. We're going to need a King or a Red Jack. We don't hit it. Just like that, we're going to lose Ran. Boppity boo. Lena's got the big stack now, 36 blinds. I guess it's not the big stack, they're a middling stack. My apologies for the poor start. King 1 goes in the tank with the Jack and the 6 of the same suit, but they're going to let this go under the gun. Pads will just get a walk with the Ace 9 of diamonds. Alrighty, Roo, so it should be a fun final table, very stacked, as always. WCOOP 2022, who the hell knows what happens? If you know what happened, no spoilers. Nino with the raise here with the Jack and a 9. The same suit on the button, we'll take it down pre-flop. Runif with the Queen and a 10, they're going to go for the raise off the 54 big blind stack. Expect to see a lot of that. I'm not overly familiar with Dalton, but they do seem like a very strong player, from what I do remember. They might be more a tight is right sort of player. They got the big stack here today. We'll see how they go how they go about things. King 1 was thinking about it with 10-5 suited. Must have bad internet or something. Kovaliski will defend the big blind with an 8-9 or 8-9 offsuit, sorry. Don't know why I was going to say of spades. Ace Queen 5 flop goes check bet fold and we're moving along. Boopity boo. King and a 9 for Niffler. It is suited. She's just going to pass on it here today. Doopity doo 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 doo. I suppose raising into Dalton's big blind isn't appealing. Again with that big stack, 73 blinds with 1 in the middle. King 1 has a couple of 10s, Dalton with an Ace 7 offsuit. We'll see some sort of a raise and some sort of a playback. Hopefully Dalton just calls here. No need to raise pre-flop. Boopity boo, let's just go flop a top pair. Ace Queen 6 flop goes check. Do we just check our 10s now? Real bad flop. King 1 goes for a very small bet, 1.4 blinds into about 6. And Dalton will call Queen on the turn. King 1 was really hoping to get the bet through on the flop. Board pairs on the turn. There's still a flush draw out there. There's still straight draws out there. 10-10 does block some of that. Ace on the river. So the 10s get counterfeit. Dalton makes a boat. And they're going to scoop the 9 blinds in the middle. Would be nice to see a check here by Dalton. Yes. Beautiful. Now does King 1 bluff with the 10s? I got no idea what to do here. You beat 6s. Or a fair amount of 6s anyways. Boopity boo. River goes check check. We don't see too much action there. Nino with a King and an 8 of the same suit will find the fold. King 1 again. It looks like internet issues. 3-5 offsuit is not a play. Or their eyes are just away from the screen. Kovaliski with a Jack and a 10 will raise it on up into the two big stacks in the blinds. And the raise should get through pre. Just kidding. Queen 5 offsuit defends the big. 8-6-3 flop goes check. Bet. Small bet. 1.5 blinds. Runif will fold. Very interesting defend. Doopity-doo-doo-doo-doo. Blinds go up. Pads picks up a couple of jacks. Dalton with a couple of 9s with 1-9 dead in the small blind. This is bad news for Dalton. I don't think we 3-bet the 9s. King 1 thinking about it with King 4 suited. No, they're not. Their eyes are just away from the screen. Same with Kovaliski. I think the 9s just call, but I could be wrong. Nicely done by Dalton. King 8-8 flop. Not the best for your Jack-Jack, but Pad still goes for a small bet here. You'd expect a lot of pocket pairs to call. Suited Ace-X. What else would be in there? Maybe some suited broadways. Pads block some of that with the jack and the jack. 5 on the turn. Pads hoping for no 5-5 in Dalton's hand. No king. Could have diamonds. Could have hearts. 7 of hearts on the river. Goes check, check. Oh, does Dalton bluff here with the 9s? Whoa, what if he jams? He's going to buy the pot. He's just going to check. No surprises there. Doobity-doo. 8-8 for Nino. They'll raise under the gun. Niffler in the small blind with a queen and a jack. Don't imagine it's a play facing the under the gun raise. Kowalski with a queen and a 10 in the same boat. Just gonna fold. Lena in the big blind with a jack and a 7. Who knows what will happen. They just fold pre-flop. That was very reasonable. Nino gets a little respect with the under the gun raise. They take it down pre-flop. Hanging on out with 24 blinds. King will fold the suited ace. Kowalski with a king and a 10 could go for the open. Dalton with a couple of 5s could go for the open. If it folds to Runif, they'll certainly open king 9. We could even see a 3-bet. You know what though, Runif with 50 bigs, I think we want to go in chip preservation mode a little bit. Wait for a good spot. Get a ladder or 2, but Runif's a very aggressive player who does like to play for first place. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some bluffs come in there from Runif against Dalton. Folds around a Nino in the small blind with a 10 and an 8. They limp it on in, pads with the jack and a 6. Checks it on back. Ace 9-5 flop goes check. Check, 7 on the turn. That's a good card for Nino. Picking up the open ender with the flush draw. Equities run real close here. Nino's hand will bet and take the pot. Queen 10 for Niffler. We'll see if she opens it up. 40 big blinds. Once folded to, you're the big remaining stack. You've been quiet so far. Yes, she finds it. King 1 in the big blind with a 5 and a 6. Don't imagine we're defending. Although we're in last place, so the ICM isn't on, or the ICM pressure isn't on us. King 1 says no, we are gonna preserve chips. Show some respect to Niffler. Doopity doo 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 doo. 8 and a 9 for Runif. We'll raise it on up. King 1 in the small blind. Doopity doo 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 doo. Ace and a 2. I think this one hits the muck. And Kowalski with a 3 and a 2 will also let this go. Do 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 do. What do we got going on here? Bunch of bullshit. King 1 with a king and a 9. We'll see if they open from the button. Dalton in the big blind with plenty of defending chips and a queen and a 4 of the same suit. I think we're going to the flop if they do find the open. King 1 passes on the spot. Kowalski can limp in the jack 7 off. And Dalton can raise or check it back. They check and look to play post flop. 10-4-2 flop goes check. Check. Dalton could put in a bet here. Just look to buy the pot on the flop, but they do check it back. Queen on the turn. No help for Kowalski. The board is completely locked up for Dalton. Unless there's some bizarre folding going on. That's so unrealistic. I don't even know why I said it. Kowalski bets half pot. Dalton might stick in a raise. The board's getting a little wet. There's the raise. 5.5 blinds to go. 4 more to call. And Kowalski will let go of the jack eye. Looks like a bunch of bullshit once again. 9 and a 5 for King 1. I don't know why they're tanking every time. Must be internet issues. Are we playing some RuneScape on the side or something? Too busy clicking over there? Wonder what's taking so long with some of these decisions. 9-7 for Dalton. We'll go 3x from the small blind. We love to see it. Runif with a 3 and a 2. We'll have to let this go. That's the sort of action we want to see, though. We want to see Dalton put a lot of pressure on Runif. I wasn't sure that we were going to see it. I thought Dalton was a little bit more of a patient player. But they say, no, I've got the big stack. Let me put my foot on the gas and build a big stack. Or a bigger stack, I should say. And just like this, Runif with the 5-4 goes 3.5x from the small blind. We'd love to see it. Runif putting some pressure on third place position. Pads with a jack and a 10 offsuit goes for the early position raise. Unfortunately for them, Niffler wakes up with an ace and jack of the same suit. Lena in the big blind with a king and a queen of the same suit. There's going to be some sort of action here. Niffler goes for the call. Lena might rip it in here. That they do. They say let's take the aggressive action and buy the pot pre-flop. Now if Niffler found the call here, they only have about 60%. Getting it in as a slight favorite for a big stack would have been cool to see. But Lena will get it through pre. What do we got going on here? A bunch of bullshit. 9-7's offsuit for Runif. Do we raise? Unlikely. Ace 10 for Nino in the big blind. Lena could play the jack 4. They do go for the Limpsky. Nino might raise it up here. Look to play a bloated pot in position with a strong hand. Lena says, yeah, I've got jack 4 offsuit, so I'm going to fold. 9-9 for king 1. What do we do off 16 blinds? Any raise should get a lot of respect. They just go for the all-in play. And this will get through pre-flop. I'm wondering, do they ever go like 2.5x and then fold in case there's a bunch of other action? Do they stick in half of their stack? That's also an option. Bet 8 blinds. Ace and a jack for Kovaliski will raise it on up. Lena will 3-bet the ace queen. Ace 5 for king 1 will happily hit the muck. I hope king 1 gets to hang out and pick up a stack or something, because I want to see if they're a strong player. I want to see if that 9-9 jam makes a lot of sense. If they're going to play a consistent game. Kovaliski with the ace and the jack facing the 3-bet. Very good price, but we'll probably let this one go. We could 4-bet as a bluff. That would be fun to see. Kovaliski will find the fold. Ace jack this time for Nino. Ace deuce suited for Dalton under the gun. Couple of 3s for king 1 will likely find the fold. Dalton puts in the raise. Nino in a weird spot here with ace jack offsuit. We expect their hand to be best here. We don't necessarily want to jam. Let's go for the non-all-in 3-bet. King 1 will let go of those 3s. Dalton could 4-bet all in with the ace deuce as a bluff. This could be a big pot going Dalton's way. Or the 3-bet gets through. I don't think there's any world where Dalton calls. Calling 3.5 more blinds doesn't make a lot of sense. We got a big stack, but we don't want to start punting it off. But a jam, I think, gets through. Dalton just finds the fold. Blinds go up. Boppity bop. King 10 for Lena. They're just going to pass on the spot with 30 blinds. Raising into Dalton's big blind. That makes a lot of sense. King 3 for king 1 off 13 bigs. Will probably fold. Man, I wish they had a stack to play with. Oh well. We'll see if they can pick it up later in the tournament here. Kovaliski with a queen and a 6 will limp it on in. Jack 6 for Dalton. We'll check it on back. King 8-3 flop. 2 hearts for Kovaliski. Not much doing for Dalton. This goes check. Like to see Dalton putting some bets here. Oh, not on the 6th turn. Wanted to see Dalton try to buy the pot here. Kovaliski with a flush draw. I wanted to see them get pushed on. Instead, we're going to see both players make a pair of 6s. Ooh, 3 on the river will chop the pot. Will anybody try to buy it, or does this just go check, check? Goes check, check, and we chop it up. 6-4 suited for Niffler will surely fold. Kovaliski with a 10 and a 5. Dalton with a 10 and a 5. Both players are suited. One player with a big stack. One player will play. One player will fold. Runef in the big with a jack and an 8. Waiting patiently. Let's see what size Dalton goes for here. They do go for the 3.5x. We love to see it. Doobity-doo. Runef with a very playable jack 8 off. Ace 7 2 flop goes bet fold, and we're moving along. Right? Or does Dalton check it on over? I got no idea what's going to go. It's just bet fold. Oh, bet call! The 8 high call! Or the jack high. What's wrong with me, man? First and foremost, I shouldn't try to predict the action. I should just watch patiently. Runef calls, picks up a straight draw. Dalton makes a pair of 10s on the turn here. Runef looking for a 9 or a jack. We see the ace of hearts on the river. Runef might think jack high is good here. It was good on the flop. Bad turn card. Dalton goes for the big bombski, half pot. And Runef's thinking about calling with jack high. This is fun. Oh, it sucks the 10 came on the turn, but call. He finds the call with jack high. This is beautiful poker. Worked out wonderfully for Dalton. Runef calling with jack high. We just love to see it. They are down to 28 blinds, putting them in 4th place. Niffler the beneficiary of that pot, now in 2nd. Lena just barely behind her. Jack and an ace for pads will open it on up. 3-5 suited does call the big blind. Ace jack 6 flop goes check. Small bet 1.8 blinds, and Niffler quickly folds. Doo-ba-dee-doo, da-doo-ba-dee-doo. Pads with a 6 and a 3. I don't know why I thought they were going to play it. It was suited. Diamonds. Couple of reasons. But it was truly very unrealistic. Queen 10 for Dalton will raise. Runef with an ace and a 7 of the same suit will call from the button. Ace 8 deuce flop goes check. But Dalton's thinking about a bet. What size do we go? Small? Oh, they land on the check option. Runef checks it on back, 5 on the turn. We'll see if Dalton starts to blast off here. No club in their hand. They are just going to check. Jack on the river. Dalton could try to get a few pocket pairs to fold. Could go for a big betski here. No, maybe even like half pot. Make it look like you're betting a jack. I think that's a beautiful play. You know what, he goes even smaller than that, 1.5. I don't know if it would ever work against like 6s or 7s. But Runef will find the call with the pair of aces and see the good news. 7-7 for pads will go for the open. Queen 9 for Dalton is suited. I don't think they play. They might show respect to pads. Lena with a king and a 10 of the same suit might not show any respect. Might just rip it all in. They actually just let it go. Nino in the big will call with the king and a 5 of diamonds. Queen 4-4 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. What do we got going on here? A bunch of bullshit. Kovaliski with a 10 and a 9 certainly isn't going to play it. 10-8 for Dalton, also not going to play. Lena with a king and a 7 will raise the button. Queen 3 in the big blind for pads, also going to pass. King 9 suited for Niffler, sees a Dalton open, going to find the fold, would love to see a 3-bet. What size would we go? I don't think we have to go large, but would still love to see it. Put it in, Niffler. Oh, she's thinking about it. There's the raise, 5.5 blinds. This is beautiful. I think, what did we do with ace jack? We don't really want to face this aggression here. Niffler's been so patient. Don't jam. Don't do it, Dalton. You don't deserve this one. Just find the fold. They've played call 9-7-3 flop. Okay. Dalton with the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, 2 overcards, 13 blinds in the middle. I've got no idea what happens here. Niffler goes for a big bet, 8 blinds, leaving herself with 14 behind. And the big bet will get through. That's 35 blinds for Niffler. Now Runif with an ace and a king will raise it on up. A bunch of bullshit. Behind. Queen 10 for Nino, gonna fold. King 1 with a queen and a 10, also gonna fold. Kovaliski in the big blind with a 10 and a 6. Also gonna fold. Are we recording? Man, I always get so worried. Doopity doo 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 doo. Dalton in the big blind with a jack and a jack. King 1 with an ace and a 10. Once folded to might rip this in. They're gonna see the bad news. 11 big blinds. King 1 will rip. No surprises here. Dalton will call. Any aces, dealer. Come on. Ace. Oh, just like that, we're gonna lose King 1. So that's an unfortunate happening. They got the 9-9 jam through earlier. What else happened? They really just waited out patiently and found a fair spot with 11 blinds. Dalton wakes up with a very strong holding. And just like that, King 1's Gonzo Alonso. We could see Dalton go for the big sizing here with the queen and the 2. Runif with the ace and the king waiting in the big blind. Play call. I think he's going to raise, but I would love to see a call. Does make it 9 blinds, and Dalton will fold the queen 2. What if he 4-bets? No, not this time. Ace and a 6 for pads off 27 blinds will fold. Dalton with a king and a 5 of the same suit. Once folded 2 will get the chance to raise. What size do we go? 2 blinds. I was wondering if we ever just go like 3 blinds against these two. Do we just try to put some pressure on them, get them to fold pre-flop? Runif with a jack and a 10 defends from the small. Ace 10 4-flop goes check, bet, call. You know what? Dalton might just pass. He says no. Let's go for the big bet here. The board's rather dry. Ace 10 4, no flush draw. Runif just folds on the flop. What a play by Dalton. Oh my lord. What are we calling from the small blind if we're going to get pushed around for? Very interesting play there by Runif. Super strong player, gotta say. They probably know what they're doing, but with that being said, if I were in their shoes next time, I'm just finding folds there. If we're getting pushed around on such a flop. It's so dry. It was a big bet. Not easy to call because we're going to face a lot of aggression on most turns. And we're going to be playing a guessing game, so Runif says I'm just going to fold on the flop. Anyways, Niffler has a couple of 4s. She's going to go for a little Betsky here. Nino looking for an ace or a jack. Don't do it. Does play call 5 on the river. That's a straight for Niffler. Good board for her. Goes for the small bet, 3.6 blinds, and it won't get paid off. Doopity-doo, doopity-doo. Very interesting sizing there on the river. I wonder if we should just go large because we're only going to get paid off by, like, say, sets. Maybe a 2-pair that's curious. Niffler says no, go for the smaller size. Look to get called by some, maybe some queens there. Not just sets and 2 pairs. That makes sense as well. Ace high is just going to hit the muck. Runif with a jack and an 8 will raise it on up. Pads in the big blind with a king and a 9. We'll just fold. King jack suited for Niffler. Dalton with an ace and a 4 of the same suit. What else we got going on? Pads with an ace and a 4 of the same suit. Would love to see another 3-bet here from Niffler. Just plays call this time. Interesting. Pads might come along in the small blind. Might also just look to preserve chips as Kovaliski has 15 blinds and Nino as well. Playing 21 blinds. We should just look to preserve him, Pad says. 6-2-2 flop goes bet fold. I suppose Dalton can check, but this looks like a very fair board just to put in a Betsky here and take it down. Dalton says, Brendan, you better tighten up on your game. We're going to go for the check ski. Niffler will check it back, 5 on the turn. Is Dalton looking for a 3 or for this to go check check to buy the pot? Really not looking for anything. That was just Dalton's board to take down. King jack of diamonds had no play there. 7-7 for Dalton in the big blind. Don't see much playability Other than that, queen 8 for pads will just fold on the button. Deuce 10 for Kowalski will also fold. So everybody's got about 12k locked up. Only about 3 grand for the next ladder. Then about 4.5. Boppity boo. 2k buy-in. So it's only a few buy-ins per ladder. Yeah, you know, the ladders, they start to add up. So we could see somebody like Pads play a little bit patiently. Lena play a little bit more patient. Wouldn't be surprised to see Dalton put some pressure on Runif and Niffler. We'll see Kowalski go for the open here with ace-5 off. This raise might get respect here. Do we just fold 5-5 pre? Would love to see a jam. Don't think it's going to happen. Oh, it does happen! Niffler just rips it all in. I didn't think it was going to happen. I think she's going to take it down pre-flop. Nice little play there by Niffler, putting a lot of pressure on Kowalski. Somebody who's been rather snug. They've been waiting out patiently, waiting for good spots. They see a chance to open from the cutoff. The raise does not get through, of course. 10-8 for Niffler, we'll limp it on in. Lena with a jack and a 7 will check it on back. King 6-4 flop goes bet fold, and we're moving along. Uh-oh, jack high for Lena. Was thinking about it there, but Niffler will take the pot. Doopity-doo. King jack for Dalton. It's a very playable holding. They'll go for the open. Niffler with an ace and a 9. Would love to see a 3-bet. There it is, 5.8 blinds. Man, she's finding all the spots. Been working out beautifully for her. Boo, Betty, boo. There hasn't been one spot where I'm like, oh, I'd love to see a 3-bet here, and she's just taking all of them. Ace-5 for Lena will find a 3-bet. Runif with a queen 9 off. We'll just find the fold pre-flop. King 10 for Runif, they're right back in there. Kowalski with an ace and a queen of the same suit will rip it all in, and Runif's going to be in a weird spot. 8 more blinds into about 22, will it be? Something like that. Maybe 23. In the end, Runif finds the fold with the king and the 10. Queen 5 for Dalton in the big blind. Might get a walk here. Nope, just kidding. Kowalski with an ace in the small blind. I have no idea why I thought it was going to be a walk. Even Nino with a king and the 6 of the same suit will go for the open, so the ace high folds. Dalton says, I'm getting a fair price here. Nino should be opening up pretty tightly. Jack 7 flop goes check. Bet fold. Does Nino ever check it back here? I think our range is so damn strong that we just have to go for a bet. Dalton will find the fold with the queen high. Or a perceived range, obviously. If Nino's opening king 6 suited, they're going to have some bullshit. As Niffler raises up the ace and the 9 in the offsuit, Pads will put in a small 3-bet here. Runif with a couple of jacks waiting in the big blind. We'll see them jam it all in. Oh, he folds the jacks! Oh boy, and this might get through. Niffler folds the ace and the 9 as well. I suppose it was somewhat of a flip there, king queen versus jack, but I thought the jacks were going to rip it all in. Not this time. Kowalski with a couple of queens will raise it on up. Runif's such a fun player to watch. They make a jack high call earlier against Dalton, folding jacks pre against Pads here. And again, to be fair, in the situation when we're calling jack high, Dalton should have a whole lot of bullshit, and that's what we've seen from him so far. In this situation, with the 3-bet here, Pad should have a whole lot of strong holdings. We've seen them play nothing but patiently. Just kidding, they opened a jack 10 offsuit from early position earlier. Couple of 7s, they aren't playing tight. But their perceived image is that they're tight, you know? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Kowalski bets a set on the flop, and the bet gets through. 10-10 for Niffler. Dalton with a couple of 4s. See the raise from Dalton. Don't know if Niffler should 3-bet or... Oh, Dalton just lays down the 4s? Are we serious? King 9 for Runif will go for the raise, and then again, I don't know what Niffler should do with the 10s. I don't know if we call and look to play post flop or if we go for a 3-bet ski here. Niffler lands on the 3-bet option. What a play by Dalton, folding the 4s. And Runif will find the fold as well. What do we got going on here? A queen and a 4, the same suit for Dalton. I would imagine is folding if we're folding 4-4. Yep. So Dalton's switching up the pace here. Playing off a 56 big blind stack, seeing Niffler's stack grow to 38 blinds. Niffler playing in position. Dalton says, I'm going to tighten up a little bit. Very interesting happening. As you see Nino limp on in the king 8 off, 4-9 for pads, jack 10-3 flop goes check. Check 9 on the turn, good card for pads for the time being. Nino with a straight draw to the 7, a queen, and a king also works. I don't know if pads is going to give him a free card. He says, yeah, sure, let's go to the river. Well, that's a broken ass sentence. Anyways, Nino with the straight blockers will check it on over. Look to show down the king high. Pads goes for a small bet ski. Would love to see Nino bluff. What size would we go? Do we ever make it like 5 blinds? Do it. Oh, Nino finds the call with the king high and sees the bad news. Ace 10 suited for Nino. Lena with an ace as well. They do go for the open. Nino will jam it all in and likely get it on through. Lena will be getting a fair price, but with that being said, it's ace 7 offsuit. You know, it's not even an all-in 3-bet, and this looks a little bit stronger. No, it doesn't. Nino did that just in case pads goes all in and Kovaliski go all in. Then Nino can fold. Anyways, doesn't matter. Niffler with a raise here with the ace and the king will get it through pre-flop. Unless Dalton goes crazy with the queen and a 2, but again, I think they're tightening up here. There's been a slight adjustment of strategy. Are we going to 3-bet? 3-bet or fold sort of situation. And Dalton does land on the fold. King Jack for Lena, not suited. Still goes for the open. Ace Jack for Dalton. Can rip it all in here, I think. Do we ever play call from the small? That they do. 8-8-4 flop goes check. Check? I got no idea. Again, Lena should have a perceived tight range. Not the best flop for it. 5 on the turn. Again, not a good card for Lena. But then, to be fair, how much like 7-6 is Dalton calling from the small blind here? They could have 6-6. That would make some sense. Would Lena have 6-6? Or do they just jam pre-flop? Off 16 blinds, they might go for the open. Doesn't matter. Ace Jack versus King Jack. Ace high takes down the pot. Ace and a Jack for Nino. We'll raise it on up. What do we do? All in? 13 big blinds. We're in last place. Why the hell not? Nino sticks in 6 blinds. King and a 9 for pads. We'll just find the fold. And this will get through for him. Ace and a 2 for Niffler. We'll rip it all in and take it down pre. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Ace and a 5 for Niffler. Queen Jack for Runif. We'll see an open, a fold, a Lena 3-bet all in, and get it on through. Right? Queen Jack will hit the muck. 6-3 hits the muck very happily, and Lena gets it through. 10-8 suited for Runif. We'll raise it on up. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Just kidding. Off the 17 big blind stack, Runif says, my stack has become very vulnerable. I've got to just play tight as right. Pads with an ace and a 2 facing a limp can rip it all in here, put a lot of pressure on Nino's king high, and that they do. And they'll take it down pre-flop. So pads in 3rd place now with 22 blinds. Very interesting. Again, has hung out patiently, got a 3-bet through, got Runif to fold a couple of jacks in a situation where Runif was the slight favorite. A7 for Runif will raise and take it down pre. Boppity bee. 9-5 suited for pads will just give Kovaliski the chance to rip in the Jack 10 suited. 14 blinds, they happily take the spot. Dalton with a Jack and a 6 will let this go. Queen 10 for Lena. They'll raise it on up. Like to see them still stay active even though they're in second last place. And even when they were in, say, third last place or fourth last place, they were still staying active. King 4 suited for Dalton could go for the 3-bet here. There it is, all in. And Lena's priced out of the pot. Right? We do see Lena have 43% against Dalton's 37. But Dalton's jam will get through. Ace and a king for Niffler in the big blind. Doesn't look like she's going to get any action. Dalton could raise Jack 3, it's just unlikely. Again, I think Dalton's playing a very reasonable game. They're just going to tighten up. There's no need to put stupid pressure on Niffler. But there's going to be spots where we can try. And when she's in the big blind, that's the one spot where we got. When she's in the small blind, that's another spot that we got. So Dalton will raise the ace-4 off from the cutoff. Lena with a queen and an 8 in the big blind. 13 blinds behind, we'll call. King 5-4 flop goes check bet. Fold. Dalton, I suppose, could check back the pair of 4s, but he's just going to go for a little protection bet. Bet a big blind. And take it down. Ace 8 for Kovaliski. Would like to see them raise, but this one's just going to fold around Elena in the small blind. They'll rip in the king jack. Nino with a king 7 suited. Thinks about a call here. Knows Lena's going to be jamming super wide. We could see the flick in. Nino says, I want to get back in the game. So let me take a chip EV, a positive chip EV situation. Right? They do find the call. They're going to look for a 7 here. Jack on the turn will lock up the board for Lena. Their aggression gets them rewarded. King Queen for Nino. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Dalton with a king and a 10 of the same suit. Do we limp it in? I got no idea what to do here. Dalton says let's go for the raise. Pads will fold the Jack 6 in the big blind. How about a Jack? Nope. Nino survives. They got 2 blinds. Let's see if they can spin it on up with a 5-4 of the same suit. Dalton will raise King Jack suited. 4-4 hits the muck for Lena. That's bad news for Nino if he sticks it in. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the 2 blinds go in, but Nino says I'm going to fold because this is a horrific situation. And perhaps there'll be a Kovaliski bust or a Pads bust. Not this time. 9-4 for Nino, we'll let this go. King 10 versus Ace Queen in the big blind and small blind. We could see some action here. Nino could make about $4,000. Kovaliski goes for the limp. We'll love to see Dalton make it 3 blinds, not jam. There it is, 2.7 blinds. It's so beautiful. This is just beautiful poker right here. And Kovaliski might rip it all in with King 10. Do we fold? I doubt it. Can we call? Oh, it's so difficult to play post-flop in this weird situation. We gotta flop a pair at least. There's the jam. Kovaliski's all in. He's got about 37%. Flops a pair of 10s. And they hold on up. The dream spot for Nino didn't come to fruition. 8 Jack suited's got plenty of equity. Nino says I'm going to let this one go pre. Pads will get the chance to raise up Queen 10. This raise should get a lot of respect, but Kovaliski has an ace. They are going to pass on the 3-betting spot. Runif in the big blind with a 7-6 suited. We'll just fold. Jack, Jack for Pads, and a couple of kings for Kovaliski, so their dream for Nino is still alive. We'll see Kovaliski go for a 3-bet here. Pads is in some real trouble. If I got Jack, Jack here in 21 blinds, I'm all in. Facing the 3-bet. Does Pads call? They are very, it's not passive, it's like, they like maneuverability. So they like to play post-flop. So there's the call. Beautiful play by Pads. Brendan's out of the tournament. Pads in the frickin' 2K is going to take this one down. Or at least move along with his 16 blinds. Ace king 3 flop will go check bet fold and we're moving along. To be fair, Kowalski could always check it back. That doesn't make sense. We're just going to try to get paid by an ace and heart draws. If we had aces, we could check it back, I think. But if we got kings, we should just go for a bet. In the end, the set doesn't get paid off, or it doesn't get any more action. Dalton will go for the raise with the queen and the 8 of the same suit. 2-2 for Lena will call the big blind. Ace 7-6 flop goes check bet fold. And we're moving along. Nino's all in with a 6 and a 5. That's unfortunate. Kowalski folding a 6 and a 5. Runif with an ace and a 10. Dalton with an ace and an 8. Somebody's going for the open. Dalton goes for the open. Runif. What do we do here with 15 blinds? Do we jam? Runif says yeah. Does Nino fold? Oh my lord, this is hilarious. If Nino wants $4,000 really badly, they can just fold here. There's a chance that Dalton calls, but you're like so committed in the pot. It's like 90% of your chips are in the middle. So Nino finds the call. They're going to need a 6 or 5 or 3. Boppity boo, boppity bee. They do not hit it. We're going to lose Nino. That's a damn shame. I love their call off with the king 7 suited against Lena. It's like, let me try to get back in the tournament here. It's either Lena is gone or I'm gone. And unfortunately this time it was Nino who had to bust. Niffler goes for the open with a couple of 10s. 5-3 suited will defend the big blind. 9-5-4 flop goes check, bet, fold, call. What do you do with 5-3? Out of spade? Super small bet. Kowalski please call. 9 on the turn. Doobity doo 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 doo. Not the best card for your 10-10. You're glad it's not a spade. 6 on the river. Again, not a great card. It's not an over card to your 10s. 3-2 makes a straight. 8-7 makes a straight. I think there was another one in there as well. In the end, goes check check on the river. Runif with an ace and a 2 will raise it on up under the gun. Dalton in the big blind with a jack and a 10 will defend. Defend with a raise. I don't think so. Just a call. 10-8-4 flop goes check. Check. Ace deuce with no club. We got the backdoor straight draw. Runif says no. Let's go for the big bet. This is not going to work out, but we love to see it. Sizing up a jam on the turn here. I wonder if Dalton just sticks it in or plays call. They go for the min bet. Oh, and Runif hates life and has to fold. Somebody let me know why Dalton didn't jam there. Why do players go for the min re-raise instead of just jamming it all in a very... It's so obvious Dalton's getting it all in if Runif goes for the 3-bet all in over the top. Are you folding Jack 10? Nope. So it's like, what the hell's going on there? Why didn't you just stick it all in? Is it like you're hoping your opponent makes a mistake somehow? Because that's an interesting play. If you're hoping Runif makes a mistake, it's like, it's certainly possible, but you're trying to exploit the shit out of a strong player, and it's tough waters to be swimming in. Anyways, Niffler with the 9-4 off. Facing the limp will go for the raise and take it down pretty. Then she gets a 10 and a 9 of the same suit. Very playable holding in the small blind. Think it'll fold it around to her. Do we just jam for 17 blinds? Plays call. 9-4 for Lena. Lena in the tank will put in the raise to 3 blinds. Niffler calls. Oh, bad flop for Lena. King 9-7 goes check, bet, call. We're off to the turn. I suppose Lena could check back. Oh, are we chopping this bad boy up with the 7 on the turn? Great news for Lena. Doopity doo, just no 10s on the river. Oh no, a king. That means the 10 plays again. So we're playing kings and 9s with a 10 kick. Niffler will take the pot down with a value bet on the river. Very funny happening. Lena gets punished with the aggressive play pre-flop. Gotta say, Niffler's been playing a very strong game. Few players have tried to take it, or at least try to put some pressure on her, and it's just not working out. 5-5 for Lena will rip and take it down pre. Queen and a 2. Don't think that's an open. Ace 10 versus Ace 9 in the blinds. We'll see Kowalski limp it on in. Dalton raise it on up. Kowalski. Call. I suppose Dalton could just check it back. Play it safe. Keep the pot small. Play in position. Queen 8-2 flop goes check. Check. We're off to the turn. Does Dalton try to bet and get called by flush draws and some straight draws? They do put in a 1 big blind bet, and that's exactly what they're doing. Queen on the turn. So we got some chop outs to an 8 or a 2. Boppity boo. A queen doesn't work, an ace doesn't work. 7 on the river. This is going to be Kowalski's pot. 5 blinds in the middle will slide their way. And I don't think any more bets go in. Nope. 9-9 for Niffler under the gun. Lena with a couple of 6s. Nice fold. Boppity boo, boppity bee. So a huge takeaway is that Pad's call with the Jack-Jack. Kowalski with the King-King. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Pad surviving 15 blinds. We might see Runif bust out before them with a Jack-4. They go with the flush draw. Niffler has 56%, but this is a very difficult call. Betting 1 big blind on the flop, we might just fold. That we do. Bunch of bullshit here. Kowalski with an 8 and a 6 might raise it up. It's suited. No, they're going to pass on the spot. Niffler will get a walk. 8-8 for Pads off 15 blinds. We'll raise it on up. Kowalski with an ace and a 10 will pass on the spot. And this will get through pre for Pads. They have 17.5 blinds now. Surviving. They get a 4 and a 4 in the big blind. Lena with a couple of 3s. If it folds to Lena, they're all in. And does Pads call is the question. I think we might fold. Pads lays it down. Would have had a beautiful spot to knock out Lena. Not surprised to see Pads fold there though. Runif with a king and a jack will just pass on the spot with 12 blinds. Niffler with an ace and a 5 will raise. Kowalski in the big with an 8 and a 7 could defend. Let's go to the flop dealer. Queen 9-8. That's a pair for Kowalski. Not much doing for Niffler. She will still go for a little Betsky here. 1.6 blinds into 5.2. Kowalski will fold on the flop. So nice play by Niffler. Doopity-doo, doopity-doo. Getting the pair to fold. Pads in position with an 8 and a 9. Fold. Nice. Ace jack for Kowalski. Limp it in. Dalton with a king and a 6 waiting patiently. Sees a 3x raise for the first time. I think we can just fold here. We are going to play in position. King 4-3 or king? That's not a king. That's a 4, a 3, and a 2. There's no freaking Broadway card. I don't even know how I got that so mixed up. Dalton does flop pretty well with the straight draw to the 5. Both players with that straight draw. Dalton with the backdoor flush draw. Jack on the turn gives Kowalski top pair, top kicker. And I suppose a bet on the turn gets through. 5.5 blinds to go. If Dalton puts their foot on the gas here, they are going to lose a big pot. Providing there's no 5 on the river. They do call once again, Jack of hearts. I don't know what we're going to do here. If Kowalski checks, does Dalton bomb away? Or the thing is king high just good here enough to check down and show it? Or showdown value. You know what I'm trying to say. Dippity-doo-doo-doo-doo. I think we got showdown value with our king high. We're very happy to see a check on the river. We could try to get like a 4 or a 3 to fold. Hearts get there. Straights get there. Or straights were there. There's the bluff by Dalton. The 6 of hearts is just such a good bluffing card. And Kowalski's thinking about a fold with 3 of a kind. Call. Oh, we want to see a call so bad. But to be fair, this bluff deserves a lot of respect. Dalton, unfortunately, didn't get the job done here today. Came in with the big ass stack, now has 12 blinds. Kowalski played the hand beautifully. 4-10 for Dalton. Will likely walk out Runif. Don't punt it off now, Dalton. There we go. Doopity-doo. Ooh, a couple of kings. Looks like Dalton's back in the game. Ace-7 for pads. Will fold. Kowalski with a king and a queen will raise. Let's see a call by Dalton. Doesn't that just look like aces? So I think we have to jam. Do we make it 5 blinds? Do we make it 4? All in by Dalton. Just make it look like we got a pair of 9s or some shit. And Kowalski might find the call here. It's only 10 more blinds into what would be a 26 big blind pot. Getting a fair price. Kowalski says, I'm not going to double you up. So now Kowalski with the big stack. King 4 suited. They're going to pass on the spot. Niffler with an ace in the small blind will rip it all in. Lena wakes up with a couple of 10s, sorry. Any aces there? Oh no, 10 on the flop. Doesn't matter about the ace on the river. So Lena's playing a damn good game. Getting it in good with the king and the jack. Getting it in great with the 10s there. Boppity boo, boppity boo. 8-4 suited's going to rip it all in and take it down pretty. And that's why, what was his name? Nino called? Yeah, and that's why Nino called. Dalton with the ace and the jack. 13 blinds will rip it all in. Lena with a couple of 7s will fold. Kowalski with an ace jack at the same suit in the big blind. Do we fold? It would be nice for Dalton to take down the blinds, but I think we call. Oh, I'm wrong. Kowalski lays down the ace jack suited. It is a weird spot, right? Because we got Runif with the short stack. We got pads with the short stack. Niffler's down to 17 blinds now. So Dalton's jam for about 15. No, it was a little bit less than that. 13, sorry. The 13 big blind jam looks pretty strong. 10-10 for Niffler. Well, she'll raise it on up. Lena had a 3-betting hand. They landed on the fold option. Said this will go around to Runif with a couple of 8s and they'll likely dunk it on in. Niffler will happily call. And Runif's in trouble. Any 8 stealer. Club doesn't help. There's some chop outs, right? No, there's not. Right? What about an ace or a queen? Isn't that a chop? That would have been a chop. Not this time. Niffler gets a knockout, even though there's no bounties on the line. Runif is Gonzo Alonso in 6th place. We're down to 5. Queen 10 for Kowalski will raise and take it down pre. Niffler, the big stack remaining in the hand. 10-8 off will go for the open. Pads in the big blind with a queen and an 8 in last place position. We can call. Pads knows this. King 6-3 flop goes check, bet. I don't know. 1.2 blinds. Backdoor flush draw. Queen high. Pads will fold. Ace queen for Kowalski gets a walk in. That's bad news for them. King and a 3 of the same suit for pads will just fold with their 7 blinds. Kowalski with a 5 and a 7. Playing 13 blinds effective will rip it all in. Dalton with an ace 6 suited will call 6 on the flop, but that's a flop straight. Kowalski says, bye-bye Dalton. Thanks for all your chips, buddy. 7-7 for pads will rip it all in. Lena will happily call with the ace and the queen. And we'll go from there. Let's see if we're down to 3. Would be interesting. Lena would pick up us. Well, you know what? Just wait. Ace or queen? Nope. And this is why we just wait. So pads with 15 blinds. Lena with about 15. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Niffler hanging in at about 30. Kowalski just under 60. It's not too many more chips for Kowalski to collect. There's about 60 left to collect. They're just under 60. Pads with a 9-8 suited will limp it on in. Kowalski will raise up the 3-6 off. Pads does call. Look at this flop. Ace 5-4. Are you serious? 2 hearts. Pads with a flush draw. Kowalski with the open-ended straight draw. Deuce or a 7. Ace high board. Kowalski's going to bet 1.5 blinds. Hopefully Pads rips it in here and buys the pot. They play call 5 on the turn. This is going to get weird. 6 high versus 9 high. Kowalski could put in another bet here. And I think it would get the job done. Instead, we see the 9 of clubs on the river. Pads loves to see a check on the turn. I think we check once again and try to let him bluff. Pad says, no, let's block bet. The question is, what do we do if Kowalski jams? Oh, I want to see it so bad because I've got no clue what would happen. Do it, Kowalski, do it. He's thinking about it. There's no way we call. We got 6 high. We're going to jam or fold. There's the raise, 4.5 blinds, and Pad says, what the hell is this all about? See, this is what I wanted to see, because Pads is a thinker. They'll go in the tank here, and oh, they just lay it down. What a play by Kowalski. That was some bully poker there. Pads is down to 10 blinds. 8-4 for Kowalski. Don't do anything too silly. King Jack waiting in the big blind. Niffler sees a 3.5x open. Goes for the small 3-bet here. 7.5 blinds in total to go. 4 more to call. Kowalski gets a great price and they just find the fold. Man, so that's another player trying to bully Niffler. Niffler says, again, get off my dick. Not literally, you know what I mean? The saying. It's funny because she's a girl. No, it's not funny. You know, fuck it. Ace 10 for Kowalski will raise. Pads with a queen and a 2 will call the big blind and flop the flush draw. Kowalski with top pair, top kicker will put in a small bet. Pads might rip it all in here. Has the backdoor straight draw to go along with it. There we go. Pads gets it in with about 40%. They're going to need a diamond. Oh, there we go. King of diamonds on the river. That will do. Pads up to 20 blinds. Ace 2 for Lena. Don't do it. They jam. Kowalski waiting in the big with a couple of 4s. Do we call here? Pads earlier laid down the 4s facing the Lena jam. Kowalski says, you know what? There's so many better holdings to call with than 4-4. And they lay it down. Ace 4 for Lena will raise. Niffler in the big blind with an 8 and a 7. We'll call King 3-3 flop. Good board for Lena. They put in a big blind bet. Niffler will fold the backdoor flush draw. 4-4 for Pads. We'll just lay it down off the 19 big blind stack, sitting in 3rd place position. Niffler will limp it on in with a king and a 7. King Jack 10 flop. Good board for Niffler. She bets a blind. Lena folds the straight draw to the queen. Jack 10 for Kowalski just finds the fold. Lena with a 3 and a 2 with the same suit will also just let Pads have a walk. 3-2 with the same suit for Niffler will fold, of course. Looks like a walk for Kowalski, but Pads could limp in the queen 3. Nah, just gonna be a fold. What an interesting happening. Ace queen for Lena. Looks like Pads folded an ace as well. Niffler with an ace and a king will put in the 3-bet. Pads will happily, or that's not Pads, that's Lena. They'll happily stick it in. 3 for a chop? Not gonna happen here today. Niffler gets a huge pot there. King and a queen. 52 blind. She's gonna go for the 2.4x open. Pads will have to fold 9-4 off. So Niffler in first place. 54 blinds. Kowalski with 48. Pads hanging on out with 17. Just gonna patiently wait for a good spot. Let these 2 big stacks go to wars. Look at this, a limp pot. Niffler says, no it's not. 5-2 off. Let's raise it on up. And Kowalski will fold. Ace 3 suited for Kowalski will go for the open. Pads with a couple of 6s and 17 blinds can dunk it all in. There's the dunk. And Kowalski folds the suited ace. Ace 4 suited for Niffler. She'll raise it on up and take it down. Bree. 6 and a 2 in the big blind for Kowalski. 3-bet? Nope. Just not going to happen, of course. 9-5 suited for Pads. We'll fold the button. Queen 7 for Kowalski. We'll limp it on in. Niffler with a 10 and a 9. We'll check it on back and flop the straight draw. Backdoor flush draw. So 6, a jack, or a heart are good cards for Niffler. We see the queen of diamonds. So the straight draw gets longer. That's not helpful. Kowalski makes 2 pairs. They're going to go for a big bet here and price her out. With that being said, there is some implied odds. If we make our hand on the river, we could build a huge pot. 8 of diamonds. Whoa, I would love to see Kowalski check and then see Niffler bluff. Would love to see it. I don't know what size you go. I think you go big. 18 blinds. Yeah, you just go large. Yeah, what a beautiful play. It doesn't matter if it works. It really deserves the respect. Please fold. Lands on the call in the end. Great play by Kowalski, you know? Finding the call there with the counterfeit 2 pairs. What can you do? Niffler with an ace and a 10 will rip it all in. Pads with a king and a 9 will fold for 16 blinds. Whoo! So we love to see it by Niffler. Unfortunately, this was the one play that didn't work out for her. Every other play worked out. She's done a great job of accumulating chips. Pads with a king and a 3 will raise 3.5 blinds and take it down Bree. Then raise the jack 10. Kowalski with 9-7 gives it a think over but will fold. Niffler will defend the big with 10-8 off. Flop a straight draw to the 9. Pads with the top as the pairs will bet a blind. There's another jack on the turn for pads. Niffler leads out 2.4 blinds. She's in trouble. Pads will call. There's no flush draw out there. Only straight draws. No need to raise. There's the call. Ace on the river. Niffler will check. Give up the bluff. 12 blinds will slide pads his way. That will put him in second place, and that's good news. What an interesting final table. Kowalski's just like Niffler, did a great job of picking off pots of Dalton. Boopity boo. Ace and a 9 for pads. You know, I've been really wondering as I keep struggling my way through the micro stakes. When it comes to like the final table and like you got the big stack, there's so much pressure being applied to their opponents that they just unfortunately get themselves in sticky situations that cost them. So I wonder to what degree we should tighten up like Kowalski did at the beginning. To what degree should we tighten up like pads did at the beginning? Let our raises accumulate some respect. So then when we get later in the tournament, we can let that pay dividends. But then again, like, so when you think about the way Niffler's been playing, like, she's been aggressive from the get-go and, like, not missing a 3-bet spot. So she's playing aggressive against the big stack. But I suppose what I was originally trying to talk about was Dalton losing their stack. Is it just coolers? Kinda so. You know? Just unfortunate for Dalton this time. When you come in with the big stack, you sure feel like you deserve first place, but it's not a lock. 5-5 for pads, he's a 4-4-3 flop, a lead from Niffler. I suppose she did 3-bet pre. All in from pads. Niffler might spike call here. 5-6 is a straight draw. Spades. 8 of spades is a bad card to have. Boppity boo. This is for Niffler's life. Right? No. Yep. 14.8 blinds in total she has. Does find the call. Gonna need an ace or an 8. Does not find it. Pads will hold with the 5s. Boppity boo, boppity bee. So we're down to 2. We got Kowalski and pads. Not tied up, but 40 blinds to 56. Pretty even. Kowalski will start things off with a limp. So again, both these players played pretty tight. They played pretty tight as right. Again, allowed for their raises to accumulate respect. Won some big pots. Boppity bop. Here they are, the final 2. And again, pads with the Jack versus Kowalski with the King earlier. That was still when Runef and Nino were in the tournament. In a spot where I said I would have been busto, pads found a way to survive with the Jack and the Jack. Kowalski with 2 pair will go for the check raise and take it down on the flop. But nonetheless, here we are. Well, we walk. King 3 for pads. 8-3 for Kovaliski. We'll see a raise and a take it down pre. Just getting limp pot. Here's our raise. Kovaliski will find it. Ah, just kidding. My guessing game has been off here today. Queen 7-3 flop goes check. Check. 4 on the turn. 5-6 makes us straight. There's still heart draws out there. Boppity boo, boppity bee. 8-6 is a straight draw. Kovaliski blocks some of that. You see the 7 of clubs on the river. Kovaliski bets about 2 blinds and pads quickly calls and sees the great news. 5-5 will raise, pads will defend with the 10 and a 6. Jack 10-5 flop, good news for Kovaliski with that bottom set, pads made a pair. Boppity boo, boppity bee, the board's so wet, pads will certainly pay off a bet. Let's go to the turn. Queen of hearts. See another bet come in here from Kovaliski. Pavliski. Doopity doo. Kovaliski goes for the big bet. 8 blinds into 10 and the bet gets through. Ace 10 for pads will raise Kovaliski with a queen and a 4. Can 3 bet or fold? Or defend? There's the 3 bet. Doopity doo 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 doo. Ace 10 for pads, playing about 40 blinds deep. Love to see a call here. Let's take this bad boy post flop. 8-6-3 flop. Nobody makes a pair. Backdoor straight draw for Kovaliski. There's 15 blinds in the middle. Kovaliski will start things off with a check. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Good card for pads. Locks up the board pretty well. Just sweating a queen. Doobity doo 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 doo. Kovaliski checks once again. Pads bets to protect. And for value, of course. Excuse me. And the bet gets through. Pads almost tied up the game there. Ace 4 suited versus Queen Jack. We're going to a flop. Queen 7-3. Goes check. Check. Ace on the turn. Good news for Kovaliski. Obviously, making top pairs. Boppity boo, boppity bee. They'll bet 2.8 blinds. Pads will reluctantly find the call. Queen on the river, that's a good card for pads. Kovaliski can still try to get called by a pair of 7s or 3s, a king high perhaps. Whoa, nice check back. They say maybe this 7 or 3 isn't going to call. The king high is just going to hit the muck. So we're going to get raised off the hand by a queen. They show down the pair of aces and they see the bad news. But a well played hand. Ace Jack flops 2 pair. Kovaliski with the backdoor straight draws is just going to find the fold on the flop. Boppity bop. Ooh, ace and an ace. Jack and a 2 for pads will call. Flop top pair. Bad news for pads. They did take the lead, but you know what? They're going to lose it real quick. Kovaliski bets real big on the flop. There's so many draws out there. 5 on the turn. The draws just get longer. Doppity dop, dop, doppity dop. Or they get grander. There's a lot more draws. Clubs. What else is there? 8-7 was already a straight draw on the flop. Some sort of 4-3 somehow. Let's see a 9 big blind bet by Kovaliski. Pads will call 4 on the river. Pads really wants us to go check, check, and scoop the pot. Instead, Kovaliski has different intentions. 28 blinds in the middle. I wonder what the size is. I wonder if it matters. All in from Kovaliski. Who knows what to do here with Jack 2 when the draw's brick. Nice fold by pads. Surviving. Excuse me. Kovaliski gets a walk with a 10 and a 7. So the fold by pads once again. Making some great fold. It would be nice to see them make a big comeback here. Once again. King Jack will go for the raise facing the limp, and Kovaliski will fold the Jack and the 5. Ace-4 suited for pads will raise. Kowalski with a 10 and a 4. We'll find the fold. King-8 for Kowalski. 8-6 for pads. Limp pot. Queen-Queen 2 flop goes check. Check, Jack on the turn. Goes check. Check. Do we bet now? Protect our hand? No, goes check, check. Ace on the river goes check, check, and Kowalski scoops the pot. Boppity bop bop boppity bum. 5-4 versus 7-3. A raise? No, a limp. Pads is limping. Ace Jack 9 flop goes check, bet fold. And we're moving along. Kowalski's thinking about something here. Whoa, was thinking about something. Very mischievous. 3-2 for Kowalski. They'll limp it on in. Pads with an ace and a 4. King 6-6 flop goes check. Kowalski puts in a big blind. Pads can't fold with that ace of diamonds. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Good card for pads. Deuce on the river, you freaking serious, poker stars. Just so predictable. A black deuce on the river. That will be good for the 4 blinds in the middle. 5-4 for pads. We'll limp it on in. Kowalski with a 9 and a 6. We'll check it on back. Queen 10-2 flop goes check. Bet. Fold. I'd love to see a raise here by Kowalski. It just doesn't quite make sense. They got some backdoor straight draws, but that's about it. Queen 6 for Kowalski. We'll limp it on in. King 7 for pads. We'll check it on back. Queen Jack 8 flop goes check. Bet. Fold. And we're moving along. Ace deuce versus Queen 4. Raise from pads. Queen 4 can 3-bet here. Just plays call this time. King Queen 7 flop goes check. Check. Pad's thinking about a little bet ski here. They do land on the check option. 9 on the river. So spades complete. Jack 10 completes. Boppity bop, boppity boo. Turn goes check, check. 9 on the river. Pair of queens for Kowalski. We'll check it on over. And pads checks back the ace high. King 4 versus 7-4. Kowalski limps. Pads checks it back. Queen 8-5 flop goes check. Kowalski with a straight draw to the 6. We'll bet 1.5 blinds into 2.2. Pads with the backdoor straight draw. Backdoor flush draw with the king high. We'll come along to the jack on the turn. Doopity doo to do to do. Kowalski in the tank. Betting full pot on the turn, and that gets the job done. King 8 versus King 5. Kowalski goes for the raise. Pads calls. Jack 10-8 flop goes check. Check, check. 5 on the turn. That's bad news for pads as he makes a pair. Don't you dare put a king on the river, poker stars. I mean, a 5 is kind of unfair too. Would it make much sense for it to go runner 5-5 just to give pads a pot here? Instead we see the queen on the river. Whoa, I was going to say we could see some interesting bluffing going on here. Instead pads leads out for 2 blinds, and I think Kowalski will call and see the bad news. Or great news, I suppose. With that being said, this is a very interesting lead. I think it's just a little bit too small. Kowalski turns her hand into a bluff. And pads quickly folds. What a play there by Kowalski. Ace 4 suited versus Ace 5. We could get this in pre-flop. Limp, raise. Oh no, just a limp jam. And a call. Heart stealer, heart! Heart! 3 of hearts on the river, that will do. We're pretty well tied up once again. Pad's getting pretty lucky there. King 10 for pads. Doopity doo. 7-6-2 flop goes check. Bet for 1.5 blinds into 4.2. King high for pads. I think we can come along to the turn. 3 of spades. Kowalski picks up a straight draw to the 5. Another bet would get through, I think. 5.5 blinds, and pads quickly folds. Boopity boo. Ace 3 versus King 3. King 3 raises, Ace 3, 3 bets. King 3, 4 bets all in. Nope. Not this time. 5-6 for Kowalski. They'll raise. Jack 8 for pads will defend. Queen 4-2 flop. Straight draw for Kowalski, looking for a little 3 or for the bet to get through, and it will. Boppity boo, boppity bee. 7-4 for pads will raise. Kowalski in the big with an 8 and a 3. Raise. Oh, they land on the fold. Ace 10 suited versus 3-4 suited. Should see a flop here. Jack 9-2. Pads with the backdoor straight flush draw. Boppity boo, boppity bee. See a 2 of diamonds on the turn. Not necessarily the best news for pads is 4 high. Kowalski says, well, that's an okay card. Queen on the river. Goes check, check, and Kowalski takes the pot. Jack and a 2-4. Pads might limp in. Might just fold. They land on the limp option. Kowalski with an 8 and a 6 of the same suit. We'll check it on back. 9-9-4 flop goes check. Check, king on the turn. Gotta say, this isn't like the most aggressive back and forth battle, but it's still pretty fun. Watching 2 patient players go back and forth. Still taking their spots. So it's like patience isn't a bad thing. A slower paced game isn't a bad thing. It's like a fine wine. Is it? Is it really like a fine wine? Nah, there's gotta be a better analogy. It's kind of like golf. It's like you grow to appreciate it. Personally, I don't give a shit about golf. It's just too slow paced for me. You know, when people say that about poker. Just a little too slow paced. And especially once you get 2 patient players just going back and forth, as we see a pair of kings versus a pair of 6s. Pads put in the small bet. Like Kowalski could play call, could play raise. We got 2 options here. They're going to go for the call, where we might see a lot of players go for the raise on the flop. Pads picks up a flush draw and a straight draw to the 10. We'll go to the river for free, 3 of spades. Kowalski will scoop this pot. 7 blinds in the middle. Goes for the 4.5 big blind bet on the river. Pads is thinking about something mischievous. Would love to see a jam. Is there any other sizing we could go? Did we ever make it, like 16 instead? I don't think so. I could be wrong though. Kowalski with an 8 and a 5. We'll raise it on up. 7-10 for pads. We'll call. Ace Jack 10 flop goes check. 8-5. We might take a stab at some point. 7 of diamonds on the turn. That's 2 pairs for pads. They're going to bet 5 blinds here. And that bet's going to get through, as Kowalski has a straight draw to the 9. Doopity doo. King 10 suited versus Jack 8. A raise from pads. Kowalski with a call. 7-6-5 flop goes check, bet, fold. No, it doesn't. Why would it go like that? Pads is going to check back the flop. Doopity doo. Deuce on the turn. Kowalski picks up a flush draw to go along with the straight draw. This pot looks like his if he wants it. 4.2 blinds in the middle, and he will go for the 6 big blind bet and take it on down. Ace 3 suited for Kowalski will raise. Pads with a 9 and a 6 will call. Ace 10 4 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Boppity boo. 1.5 big blinds is the bet into 4.2. Blinds go up. Pads hanging out with 21 blinds. Kowalski with 52. Pads goes for the raise and takes it down pre with an 8 and a 10. 7 and an 8 for Kowalski. We'll limp it on in. King 6 for pads, checks it on back. Queen 4-2 flop goes check. Check? What do we do with 8-7? We are going to go for the check here, 5 on the turn. Straight draw to the 3 for pads. Just nothing doing here for 8-7. Kowalski does stick in the bet here. 1.5 blinds to go. Pads makes the call. Deuce on the river. Imagine Kowalski's gonna have to put in another bluff here. We'll just see if Pads finds the hero call. No, Kowalski gives it on up and the king 6 will take the pot. 6-9 for Pads. We'll raise Kowalski with an ace and a 7. We'll defend somehow. Could raise it on up pre-flop. They just go for the call this time. Jack 6-5 flop goes check. Bet. No, it goes check check. 8 on the turn. Kowalski with a straight draw to the 4 or 9. Duppity-doo, duppity-doo. Pads with the pair of 6s. We'll put in a 2 big blind bet into 4.4. Kowalski will land on a call. 4 on the river. That's a straight as well. Did I see he had a 1-liner to a 9? Had a 1-liner to a 4 as well. This is Kowalski's pot. They're going to lead out for 1.5 blinds. Pads with the straight blocker. No, he doesn't. Doesn't block the straight with a 9. What the hell's wrong with my eyes? This video's getting a little bit too long for me. Dippity-doo, should have took a break at some point. Instead, we're just powering on through. 7-4 versus Jack 10. Queen 5-3 flop goes check, bet, fold. Would love to see a raise from Pads though. 3 in a row. 10 or Jack high is good. 3 on the turn. Kowalski still has the straight draw to the 6. Instead, we're going to see an ace of hearts on the river. 4.2 blinds. Might slide Pads his way. 7 high. Could go for a bluffski. What size do we go? 2.6. Right around half pot. And Jack high has to fold. Nice steal by Kowalski. 4-4. We'll jam it all in. Ace 3 for Kowalski. We'll probably find the fold facing this aggressive ass jam. Boppity boo, boppity bee. 9-8 for Kowalski. Ace 9 for Pads. Limp pot. Pads says no, it's not. Jams it all in and gets it through pre. 8-7. We'll raise Kowalski with a king and a 2 of the same suit. Can 3-better call. They go for the call option. King 8-4 flop goes check. Do we check back the middle pair? Pad says yes, sir. 5 on the turn brings in a straight draw for Pads. Looking for an 8, a 7, or a 6. Kowalski with that top pair will bet 3 blinds. Doesn't quite size up a river jam. 7 on the river, so it's irrelevant. 1-liner to a 6 out there. Kowalski with that top pair. Could go for another bet here, I suppose. 3 blinds. Now the question is, does Pads value jam? Very interesting spot for 8-7. So it's not a value jam, but it is a value raise. I don't think this gets paid off. Spades miss. What else misses? No, 9-6 makes a straight. Any 6 makes a straight. 8-7 won't get paid off on the river there. 3-3 for Pads. Boppity boo, boppity bee. We'll limp it on in. Kowalski with a 9 and a 6. Playing about 30 blinds deep. Kowalski raises it to 4 bigs. Does Pads just jam over this? Whoa, wee wah, what an interesting hand. There's the jam. And Kowalski's gonna have to lay down the 6-9. Very nice. Almost tied up once again. King 7 versus Ace 6. 7-7-2 flop. Good news for Kowalski. Pads has the backdoor nut flush draw on a paired board. Kowalski with 3 of a kind, obviously. Deuce on the turn goes check. Kowalski could get some more value from the ace high here. Doesn't have to go too large. Instead, you'll give him a free river. Deuce on the river. That is not a chop pot. Kowalski still with a better boat. Do-ba-dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. With that being said, though, Pads might call for a chop. Might turn his hand into a bluff as well. 12 blinds is the bet from Kowalski, and Pads just quickly folds. Looks like he got a little too greedy there on the river. 8-5 for Pads. 9-10 suited for Kowalski. Pads raises. Kowalski calls. Jack 8-5 flop goes check. Bet. Do we call or raise with our straight draw? Backdoor flush draw. Pads with 2 pairs, by the way. 6 on the turn. This could have been our cooler. Instead, it looks like we're keeping the pot small. Kowalski playing out of position. Not surprised to see it. Pads will put in the full pot size bet on the turn. And does this price out the straight draw? 7 blinds into a pot that would be 21 bigs. With 19, 20 behind. I think we're priced out. Kowalski jams. The 2 pairs gonna call. Whoa, can you imagine if Pads folds? What a play by Kowalski. The 2 pairs thinking about folding. Does find the call. King on the river. 60 blinds for Pads, and just like that, Kowalski's down to 13. Holy shit. What a final table by Pads. And again, I'm just going to go back to the Jack-Jack versus, oh, this might get in. Jack-Jack will go for some sort of raise. Queen-Jack. Might jam over the top of it. In position, we could just play a pot. Pad says let's go to the flop. King 10-3. That's a straight draw for Pads. Kowalski with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. The pair of jacks will bet 1.5 blinds. We get a call. King of spades on the turn. Good news for Kowalski. He's going to check it on over. Not too afraid of this pot. Should be pretty well committed. 7 on the river. That's a good card for Kowalski. Now the question is, do we bet or do we let Pads bluff? And they're going to go for the let Pads bluff option. Unfortunately, Pads won't pull the trigger this time. 16 blinds for Kowalski. An ace and a 9 will raise it on up. Pads with an 8 and a 10 will call. And flop 3 of a kind. Kowalski with the backdoor flush draw. No backdoor straight draw. We'll bet a blind. Pads will come along in some manner. They go for the very small raise. 2.5 bigs. Kowalski says let's go to the turn. 8. Are you serious? Quads for Pads. We'll check it on over. Kowalski with the ace high can bet once again. Don't you dare put an ace or 9 on the river. Alright, we get the 10 of diamonds. That's a card that really completes a lot of what Pads would have. Some sort of like 10-9, 10-7, Jack-10. A lot of these hands make a boat. Some sort of what, like Queen 10 of hearts? Not likely. Pads jams it all in with the 4 of a kind. And Kowalski could make the hero call. We are heads up here. He's got ace high. Nice fold by Kowalski, surviving and preserving the 12 blinds. So it's been a final table of folding, and it's been a lot of good folding. Lots of good poker here today. 8-6 suited will rip it all in and take it on down. Ace deuce for Kowalski. We'll jam and take it down pre-flop. 6-3 for Pads. We'll limp it on in. Kowalski with a 10 and a 2. Ace, king, queen flop goes check, bet, fold. Well, I guess Kowalski can call. It's a straight draw to the jack. It's a 1 big blind bet. Let's go to the turn. Queen of clubs. Pads gives it on up. The 10 high is best. I don't think Kowalski shows it down. Puts in the 1 big blind bet, and this is going to get 6 high to fold. Doobity-doo. Jack 10 for Kowalski. We'll limp it on in. Pads with a 6 and a 2. We'll raise it on up to 5.5 blinds. This is a huge raise. Looks like Pads is committing themselves to the pot. It happens so damn quick too. Kowalski might read into this. Does find the call. Ace 10-4 flop. Small bet by Pads. Kowalski with that pair of 10s is going to hang in there for at least a bet. All in from Kowalski, and Pads folds to 6 high. Huge pot going Kowalski's way as the blinds go up. King 9 versus Queen 9. A little unfair, poker stars. Pads limps it in. Kowalski can check it back. Jack 8-3 flop, so at least Kowalski is a straight draw to the 10. Other than that, he's looking for a queen. Deuce of hearts on the turn. That's not what we're looking for. Nope. .2 blinds in the middle. Pads gives Kowalski a free river. 4 of spades. Doopity-doo-doo-doo-doo. Kowalski checks. Pads checks. And 4.2 blinds slides Pads away. King Jack versus King 7. We'll see a limp and a check. Ace Queen Jack flop. Both players with a straight draw to the 10. Kovaliski obviously with the best of it with a pair of jacks. Pads does call Jack on the turn. Bad news for Pads here. Give him a free river. 10 still chops the pot. Instead we see a 2.5 big blind bet and the bet gets through. Ace 3 gets a walk. Boppity boo, boppity bee. 9 and a 4 for Kovaliski. We'll limp it on in. Pads with a jack and a 4. We'll check it back. 5-4-2 flop. That's a pair for both players. Both players with a super vulnerable pair. To see a min bet on the flop and a call. 8 on the turn. 6-7 makes a straight. Turn goes check, check, deuce on the river. Both players are going to feel comfy with their pair. Kovaliski could try to get called by ace high. Maybe a pair of 3s. Wow, that's a thin value bet. Nice check by Kovaliski. King Queen for Pads. We'll raise it on up. Kovaliski will jam in the ace 7. This could be it, or it could be a Kovaliski pot. I got no idea what to do here. Pads does find the call with 42%. He's going to need a king or a queen. That's a non-heart. Boppity boo. Kovaliski gets the full double. 37 blinds to 22. Queen 3 versus ace 7. Queen 3 raises. Ace 7 jams. And the queen 3 folds. Whoo do 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 do. 4 and a 6 for Pads. Kovaliski with a queen and a 9 facing the limp. Thinking about a raise. We'll just check it back. Queen 7-6 flop goes check. Check. Jack on the turn. Dippity doo 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 doo. Kovaliski bets. Pads calls and makes 3 of a kind on the river. Obviously pretty good news for Pads. Oh, I wonder if it's good news for Kovaliski. Nope. It's bad news for Kovaliski. They are going to find the check on the river. Very nicely done. A lot of draws miss. 8-9, King 10, both open-ended. Hearts miss. There's some more straight draws in there. 10-9. Did I already say that? No, I said 8-9. Anyways, Pads pretty well goes for the 3x overbet all in with the 3 of a kind, and Kovaliski might find the fold here. This was a little too greedy, I think. Nice fold by Kovaliski. Do 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 betty do. Ace and a 6 for Kovaliski. We'll limp it on in. Pads checks it back. 9-5-2 flop. 3 clubs. What a bad song. 10 on the turn. Pads with the straight draw to the 8. Goes for the 2x overbet here. We like to see what he's doing here now. Putting his foot on the gas now that things are getting a little bit tighter. He's going to buy the 2 blinds in the middle. 10-2 versus a queen and a king. Raise pot. Kovaliski says it's a 3-bet pot. To 7 blinds. Pads quickly folds. Queen 2 versus queen queen. Queen 2 will limp. Now it goes for the raise. Pads will 3-bet and take it down. Do betty do. 3-bet to 6.5 blinds. Kovaliski goes in the tank for a little bit and finds the fold. So we're pretty well tied at 30 blinds. Queen Jack versus 6-10. Single raise pot. Kovaliski says let's go to the flop. King 9-2 flop. Goes check. Do we bet with our straight draw? Pad says yeah, bet a big blind. Kovaliski will just fold to 10 high. Do 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 do. 3 and a 3 versus a queen and a 6. Single raise pot. King 9-2 flop goes check. Bet. I don't know. What do we do with queen 6 with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw? Pads finds the call ace on the turn. Doopity doo 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 doo. Turn goes check check. 4 on the river. Yeah, and this will be Kovaliski's pot with the pair of 3s. Ace queen versus king 2. We see Pads raise. Kovaliski could 3-bet or just call. Call is a very reasonable option. Jack 10-7 flop. No king's dealer. Let's just see the 8 of hearts. 7 of spades on the turn. Not quite what Kowalski's looking for. Had the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw on the flop. 7 blinds in the middle. Pads gives him a free river, the queen of spades. Kowalski blocks ace king, king 9. Doesn't block the spades. Doesn't block the boats. We'll check it on over. Pads will bet over the pot. 9 blinds into 7. And Kowalski folds the king high. Aces for pads. Kowalski will raise. Pads will 3-bet and take it down pre. Boppity boo, boppity bee. Another small 3-bet. Kowalski could get a little curious here with 6-5. Not this time. 10-5 or 7-3. Limp pot. Kowalski checks it on back. Ace king 5 flop. Pair for 5s for pads. Bets a big blind. Kowalski with the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, just check folds. 8-5 for Kowalski. Limping it in. Pads with a 9 and a 4. Checking it back. 7-5, 2 flop goes check bet call. No, check bet fold. We're moving along. Dippity doo do 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 do. 6-2 for pads. We'll limp it on in. Kowalski with a 5 and a 3. We'll put in the raise here. Let's go to the flop. No, not this time. 10-4 versus 8-3. Looks like Kowalski will just fold and move along to the next hand. Queen 2 will limp it in. Jack 4 for Kowalski. Could always raise. There it is. 3.5 blinds to go, and pads will probably fold. 8-5 or 6-9. 6-9 limps. 8-5 checks it back. 10-4 2 flop goes check. Bet. 2.2 blinds in the middle. Let's see Kowalski putting a bet ski here. 1 blind to go, sorry. And the bet gets through. Jack 9 suited. Pads will limp in. Kowalski with a king and a 3 checks it on back. 9-8 6 flop goes check bet fold. We're moving along. Do do do. 5 and a 5 versus an 8 and a 7. We'll see a raise and a call. 9-9 2 flop goes check bet. Raise. Kowalski bets 1.5 blinds. Pads with the backdoor straight draws. Finds the fold on the flop. Ace 6 for pads. Limps it in. 10-3 suited for Kowalski. Checks it on back. Queen 7-5 flop. Not quite what pads is looking for. Is the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, and the ace high, which is best for the time being. 5 on the turn. Pretty comfy card for our ace high. Just makes it less likely that our opponent has a pair of 5s. Pads bets 1.3 blinds. 10 high for Kowalski, thinking about a call or a raise. Certainly thinking about a fold. Not thinking about a call or raise. 3-7 for Kowalski will walk out pads. Boppity bop, boppity boo. 10-2 versus a 10 and a 9 limp pot. Kowalski thinking about buying it. He says, let's just go to the flop. Queen Jack 10 flop goes check bet call. We're off to the turn. Pads looking for a 2 or a couple of hearts. I suppose there's some chop pots out there. Not on the 7 of spades turn though. Wait. A queen or a jack chops the pot. Ace on the river. That's not going to get the job done. This will be Kowalski's 4 blinds. Wait, what? Why can't I count cards? We're way too far in the video. Ace king versus ace 6. Hopefully this shit's over. Ace 6 will rip. Put a 6 out there, dealer. Doesn't really matter. Kowalski pretty well got the job done with that pot there. Pads is down to 2 blinds. Has 8-7's going to rip it all in. Has a pair of 8s here. Just sweating the aces. 4 blinds for pads. Can you imagine if he makes a comeback? King 9 versus king 10? Very unlikely. Put a 9 out there. Put a heart out there. Come on, 9. Nope, not this time. Oof. So Kowalski gets the job done after that long-ass battle. How didn't I realize this was a chop pot? Let's count the cards, Brendan. Ace, king, no, that's a queen. Ace, queen, jack, 10, 10. That's 5 cards. Ooh, shit. Sorry about that one. You know what? It was a long-ass show. I made it all the way through without stopping. So you know what? You're bound to make a mistake or two. Alrighty, so I suppose that's the end of the show. If you made it all the way through, thanks for checking this shit out. Very, very fun final table. Got to learn a lot here today. Kovaliski gets the job done. Wabam. Alrighty. Adios, amigos.